Hey everybody, it's Saturday Live from the couch. Running a little ragged today, but that's okay. So in just a minute, I am going to bring in an awesome artist. I love her. I love her music. She seems absolutely awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about her. So she is, I believe, an American living in Europe, which is really wicked cool. And she's a singer-songwriter. She's an opera singer. She's a poet, performance artist. She is a rock and roll torchbearer from Florida. Let me tell you, there's some awesome artists coming out of Florida as of late, what I'm finding. But she currently resides in Europe. So I'm going to ask her to join in. I'm bringing in Logan. So she's going to hop on in just a minute. And we are excited to chat with her.
Sideways. Hi.
Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I am a little chilly in Scotland this spring, but I'm a Floridian surviving.
Well, yeah, and I wasn't sure exactly where you were going to be calling from because I think I've seen Paris on your website. I know we exchanged emails back and forth, and you said you were in the UK. So now it sounds like you're in. Where are you?
I'm in Scotland.
Oh, how lovely!
Yeah, the band is in Paris, and we've been working based out of Paris for a few years now, but Americans are actually given a little more leeway to travel to and from the UK. Our passport allows us to be here for 6 months at a time, whereas the EU allows us only 3 months at a time. So for the last several years, I've been able to get some UK management and shows and things like that, and projects and co-writers that allow me to use up that time that I'm given here. 6 months is, you can get a lot done in 6 months.
Yeah.
So the dance between the two is sort of where I've been at for a while.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I mean, what made you decide to want to go to Europe rather than stay in the States? Because I think you were doing some stuff in the Nashville area as well, right? So
Yeah,
is there a particular reason?
Well, I started in Boston when I was in school, and during that time in school, there just really wasn't a lot of opportunity to play. And I think that pushed me to move to Nashville, which is in the center of the country. So easy to tour to everywhere from the Mississippi Delta to you're halfway between LA and New York. So that, I think I probably wouldn't have moved to Nashville so quickly if I hadn't been so anxious to play in multiple places that weren't just the Boston kind of Berkeley scene or the New England scene, or trying to break into New York, which is like a whole beast of its own. So Nashville really was about touring for me. And when I had toured to all the places that I wanted to see in America a few times, I think I was just really curious about what things were like over here. And I came in 2016 just to London and Paris, and I was like, I have to do this now. I can't go back and just, with all due respect to Middle America, some of the most fun I've had on tour is in Middle America. I wanted to see old things. I wanted to see different scenes in London and Paris who are doing kind of the same thing that I was doing, and it was cool to see that reflected across the ocean. So
yeah, Europe tends to be a little bit more, I like to think they're a little bit more advanced and a little bit more, I don't want to say accepting, but it is accepting. Like they like different types of music. It's I think, no offense to anyone in the US, but I think we are very cookie cutter in the types of music that people listen to.
It's radio's fault. It's really like about catering to radio formats, and that's way less of a big deal over here. So I think that's a big one.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And I think too, because I want you to describe your music for everyone a little bit, because I think that the type of music that I was listening to for what you do, I think it fits perfect in Europe.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the type of music that you do, because I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. It's been a joy, mostly because I came over here just because I wanted to like see the culture and see the architecture and see a country that, or, you know, several countries, arguably the UK is getting worse and worse about this, but federally funding the arts is something that just changes the game completely. I think the struggle that happens in America from the touring industry to the recording industry is the fact that the American federal arts budget per year is less than one Hollywood film. So we are not experiencing the proliferation, the diversity that we could be experiencing. That it's not perfect over here by any means, but in a country like France, where artists are supported through periods of unemployment, artists are supported if you meet a baseline amount of gigs a year, you can have, you know, some sort of universal basic income for musicians. It's just a completely different headspace to be creative in. So the musicians that I found that translated the sounds in my head the best have been these French guys and girls. And it's been interesting because they've had the freedom to really dive into their own passions and their own skills and use them to, you know, the full potential of a 20 something or a 30 something, where you're really globally informed about music. And describing my music is hard because I've done so many different kinds, and I've made, you know, very Floridian kind of rock and roll or world music or whatever with my Floridian band, and more Southern rock, country rock kind of stuff with the band I had in Nashville. And then I think the Silhouettes in Paris really helped me find my sound of what I want to make records that sound like. There's different things that I can sing or write in that I wanted to express as sort of maybe an EP or a little experiment, but it's been really nice to have this European perspective help me form my own sound, which is not just those aforementioned genres, but everything I've been listening to in the more recent times, since classic rock was my foundation, and blues and country and all these things. I feel like for a lot of people it is, but in the last I don't know, 5 years, especially since lockdown, I've just been listening to weird stuff like Prince and Radiohead, and just stuff that I wasn't using to write from or create from before. But these guys get it, and it's really fun to also not have to pigeonhole yourself, because Nashville's kind of a place that does that to you. No matter how hard you try to fight it, it happens, and it's not your fault. But it's, you know, it's less so over here, I think.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I mean, definitely Nashville does pigeonhole you. And, you know, even like I find it even in my music, because a lot of people have tried to push me towards that, and I'm like, no, I don't sing country. It's just not gonna work.
It's such a moneymaker, you know.
I know.
I knew so many people in Nashville who had rock bands or who were like, I'm not gonna do this, and lo and behold, they're now famous for doing the thing they said they'd never do, because everybody has a price.
I know. Exactly. So before I ask you to play us a song, I'm hoping we have time to do two, if you could.
Yeah, sure.
But before I swing over to ask you to play, one of them is, okay, you mentioned right now that you're listening to groups like Radiohead, and I think you also mentioned Prince.
Yeah, I was on a Prince kick for a while.
He's awesome.
I know.
He is absolutely, he's brilliant. He was a brilliant musician, in my opinion. Who else inspires you? Or what types of things do you draw inspiration from in order to write the music that you're currently working on?
There was a lot of lockdown music that I revisited from my younger years, like stuff that was happening in the early 2000s, like the early White Stripes records and the Gossip, and kind of this like garage rock revival that was happening in those early 2000s, where it was everything else was not, and this was guitar music. And Oasis and Britpop and Gorillaz and Blur and things like that. But then on this completely different side that was kind of adjacent to my kick of Prince and disco, was like industrial music and 90s electronic music, and just a lot of 90s music in general, because looking back at it, after having been to school and learned about history of rock and history of recorded music and all these things, the 90s were so fascinating for so many reasons, but I especially like thinking about how real instruments were still being played on pop music, and the transition from plugged into the wall or acoustic analog mentality was in the production of the record rather than in creating it with laptops or creating it with, I'm interested in how you can use analog instruments to create futuristic sounds. And the 70s was really into that too, but it spun off into kind of a proggy place. And I'm interested in the people who are doing it for pop music and making rock more popular, I guess.
You would get along really well with my producer.
Yeah.
Because he is, there's actually a couple people that I know that are very interested in the whole organic instrumentation with pop. And there is not a lot of that today, because there is I'm not going to say most. I do know a lot of people do, loops and beats and, one loop is in 50 different songs and, and everything is very...
And there's, 13 writers on everything, yeah.
13 writers on everything, and I'm hoping that at some point in time we do get back to a little bit more of the creativity as you described it, because I do think that bringing in more organic instrumentation, and you can have a blend, but I think leveraging more organic instruments, I think, is going to provide a little bit more variety than what we're listening to today.
That was honestly the titans of that for me were Prince and Radiohead, because they both used futuristic production techniques and futuristic mixing and, analog synths and keyboards and things to make guitar music more powerful. And they both, as artists, always had their eye on the present zeitgeist and the future to figure out what music would sound like, but how you can do that informed by a guitar plugged into a wall rather than, a drum trigger. And now I'm in a place where I'm exploring that kind of thing too. How can I layer a computer sound over an organic, really hard hit kick drum to make something hit even harder for this new headspace we're all in? But
awesome. Well, let's pause for a song break. Can you play us a song?
Sure, yeah. I have been practicing trying to play some of the newer things I've written live.
Awesome.
This is a good time to force myself to do that. I'm going to play a song called Aquamarine that is new. It's going to be on the next record that the Silhouettes and I are working on right now. And this was definitely in my Oasis phase.
Yes.
I rediscover Oasis every 3 or 4 years, and it hasn't gotten old yet, which is cool.
That's awesome.
I'm sure it will someday. But I was also listening to a lot of Brian Jonestown Massacre and Dandy Warhols and some of that early 2000s guitar music that I realized you could just put elements of the classic songwriting technique that's really pushed into your mind in Nashville, especially when you co-write and you learn from people in business. You can blend that with some of the meaner sounds that I was finding in BJM records and Oasis records, guitar-wise, wall of sound, things like that. And if you apply that to songwriting that would maybe otherwise be cheesy, you can make something cool.
Yes.
Yeah, you just have to put a lot of guitars on it. So this is Aquamarine. When everything starts folding into tightly under that low ceiling in my mind, when the sun comes polishing so brightly, like a straight jacket, sticky hot, I'm dying. You got the reins in the sky like sparkle and shine. Tracing my eyes like patterns and lines, like letters you write. Aquamarine, just what I need. Bitter tangerine, I'd leave it all for you. Aquamarine, all I can see. Lavender, I dreamed I'd leave it all for you. I'd leave it all. When I lie on the pretty ground and fly here, when the night feel better than what's right. Got a subject of your fantasizing, immortalized no matter what transpires. You got the flame pure and it'll find for my greedy disguise. You never know why I dreamed it alive long before it alive. Aquamarine, you're just what I need. Bitter tangerine, I'd leave it all for you. Aquamarine, you're all I can see. Lavender, I dreamed I'd leave it all for you. I'd leave it all for you. I'd leave. In my sleeping green lava, I'd leave it all by the cathedral tucked into the seams. But I'm losing all of my old talismans from loving and then I'm missing out what it seems. So just play it again for me. Aquamarine, just what I need. Bitter tangerine, I'd leave it all for you. Aquamarine, you're all I can see. Lavender, I dreamed I'd leave it all for you. I'd leave it all for you. I'd leave.
That was awesome.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm looking forward to, you said that one was on your, you guys are working on new music.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing how you kind of flesh that one out.
Yeah, it's very different. It was very kind of shoegazy when I wrote it, very slow, and the band has put a very kind of rougher, but like a little psychedelic, a little dancey, still in the kind of dreamy spirit of the thing. It's kind of the only song on the record that's kind of bittersweet and nostalgic, but we just signed with, the first time I've ever done anything with management. I've always done everything myself with my label and my publishing, and the band and I just got with a manager and lawyer, and it's kind of building the space for the new album, and we've got 4 songs. I'm working on number 5 through 8.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It came a lot quicker than the last one, probably because of lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Lots of stuff, you know, a lot of artists have been saying, yeah, you know, I mean, spent all this time writing stuff. Now I'm able to get in and record. So
yeah, exactly.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of new music.
For sure.
That's great. Sure. I'm happy to hear that you're working with people, because I know that you've also worked with some big names in the past. Vance Powell, from
good old Vance.
Jack White, Arctic Monkeys. That's huge.
He's done so much for Jack White and Third Man and Raconteurs and stuff, and that's really why I thought his production engineering was so good. And I worked with Brett Orison, who has done sound for Jack White as well, and sound and production for the Black Angels. Awesome psychedelic band that I love. Brett went to Berkeley, like me, and he's producing a lot of cool bands out in Austin, Texas, all mostly psych and blues. He's got great taste. And over here right now, it's just me and the band making these demos, which is crazy because we're more producers than we've ever been. And it's always been a goal of mine to get to a place where I feel like I'm producing my own music, at least most of the way, rather than just collaborating with a producer who's older and knows more. But we are going to create these demos and then shop around for somebody to work with. And this is the first time that we've had a team behind us helping us do that. So I hope that we can have another great experience like Vance was, that taught me so much. I'm excited to have that next vibe for the band.
Yeah, I think that'll be awesome for you. And I was watching one of your videos where you were actually doing some studio work with the band.
Yeah.
And you're doing a very, very good job with the whole demo producing type of thing. I was cracking up because I was just like going, damn, she's a little spitfire. I love her. Because I mean, but it was really great because everyone.
Hi, my friend Davor. Hi, Davor.
Hi, Davor. Is it Devor? Is that how you say it?
Davor. He's Scottish.
Davor. Okay. Well, his last name looks Irish.
It's Scottish. MacLeod is one of the Scottish staple family names around here. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you like it. I love it.
That studio video I think you saw was in England doing the pre-production for doing the tracking actually for the record that we did together, the Silhouettes and I, the first time we did an album together.
But you guys did it. I mean, I thought it was awesome how everybody contributed their own part, right? So,
yeah, this is really what this is peak being in a band for me. That's why I love this crew so much. They're just the best family of players I've ever been able to get together, that is all on the same wavelength, trying to do the same thing and doing a lot of things ourselves first and then sending it off to somebody else who can help us level it up is what I've always wanted, rather than going to a producer first and saying kind of, you know, who are the best players for this. I've got the best players now. I just need to take a step back from that and realize that the next step of the process is to level up the songs once you have the family together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Your next album is going to be killer. I can't wait. Mm-hmm. Do you have a timeline when you might be putting it out?
I would like to put it out in the beginning of 2022 so that we can tour all year, because this year is still pretty up in the air for a lot of things. But it's hard to say. We've got some offers in France to play outdoor festivals and things like that, but the UK is not quite up on that yet. And we were supposed to tour the States with the French band in 2020, so we didn't want to try to do that this year when things are so uncertain, so hopefully we'll do it next year. But right now I'm just kind of like sitting, waiting for things to open, and they are slowly between here and France. So yeah, summer outdoor shows are likely, and then album in the first part of the year, so we can do a real tour next year.
Great. Yeah, that I was going to ask you about if you had any touring plans or stuff, because I know things are opening up in the States.
It's different everywhere. It's so hard. Like, there's people back home in the States who are like, come play, you know, New York or New Jersey or Nashville. And I'm just like, it's so far away now. I don't know. And that when only certain things that are so far from each other are operative. And it was even tougher over lockdown times because France would close and then the UK would be open and then the UK would close and France would open up. And it was just like, oh my gosh, that was my whole winter.
I know. It's
clown world.
It's a little wacky. It's a little wacky. Hopefully by the end of the year, maybe some sense of normalcy. Who knows? Who knows? Right?
We'll see.
We'll see.
I just want to play with the band again, full shows. That's why I've been loving being in the studio so much, because you get to make so much noise. I miss the noise.
I know the feeling. Trust me. All right, we're gonna play my famous Saturday Mixing It Live this or that game so that everybody can get to know you just a little bit more.
Okay.
A little more personal type questions. And then I'd love you to close out our show with one more song if you could. That would be awesome. So answer, I'm going to give you 2 words. You give me the first thing that pops in your head. Which one? Okay? City or nature?
Nature.
Plane or train?
Plane.
Beach or mountains?
Oh, that's literally the 2 halves of my psyche, because I was literally raised between Florida and New Hampshire. So that one is the ultimate impossible. I'm right in the middle.
Switzerland.
That's like my daily battle up here.
Fire or ice?
Fire.
Big party, small gathering?
Big party.
Phone call or text?
Phone call.
Yeah, a lot of people are picking the phone call one, which
Lately.
is which is interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
We miss each
Sneakers
other.
or sandals, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one.
I don't wear either of those things.
Are you a barefoot girl like me?
I sometimes, but I've always worn boots, just like little
cool
goth problems, I guess. But I grew up in Florida, never wore flip flops. I think I had a principle against it. I don't know, and I have a pair of trainers now that I'm in the UK for like when I go do archery or something and I don't want to be in fancy shoes, but you won't catch me in sneakers anywhere else.
Oh my God, that's so awesome, because I'm a barefoot girl. I walk
as much as I can be.
Yep, I walk barefoot all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Piercings or tattoos?
I have so many tattoos and like no piercings. I was so scared I have my ears pierced and that's it, and I was terrified to do that when I was 14, but I'm covered in tattoos.
All right, so we'll go with tattoos. All right, that's my this or that game for today. We'll see what other questions I have the next time I come on. But I would love for you to play us another song, close things out for us, and then after you're done, you can tell everybody where they can find you on social media, and we'll call it a wrap because I know it's late for you.
Sure, it's actually not that late. It's not too bad. The sun is still up here, which is great because all winter the sun set at 4 p.m. in Scotland. So this is magical.
Awesome.
This song is from my second album, Shadow Work, which just came out last year. And this was the first album that I did with the Silhouettes. And this is the song that you saw the video for on YouTube. It's called Oedipus Rex, and it's like a mini documentary about our studio time making the tracks for that. And this is on vinyl on Bandcamp now. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Baby, do you want me to be? And I said, okay. escape, and then you saved me from the place where I went to pray. But now your edifice turns to gray, fall like Icarus toward the grave. You crack your teeth, they rot away, and I'm here unscathed, and I'm your mother again. What a waste. There's no other way I could play. You're a landmine laying on a loaded base. I had this bright idea that the only little thing I feel was you leaving me, giving me nothing that I could take. I'm alive again since the devil he got back in, and now I'm swimming what I win and just what I've made. I'm your mother again, what a shame. Cracking your knuckles, unwrapping your hands till they break, and you say I'm afraid. On the night we met, the ink sank in, we bled, and then you held me to the bed and told me your name.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is on vinyl on Bandcamp, kimlogan.bandcamp.com, and that's the album Shot at Work. And we got the vinyl pressed in France over lockdown and have not gotten a chance to even play a show where we're selling it. So everybody's just got it from the internet, and hopefully this year we'll be able to play some stuff where we can give these people vinyl in person.
Oh my God, that's awesome. And Bandcamp Fridays, people. So Bandcamp Fridays, keep that in mind. They are doing,
I hope Friday. They keep doing it. I'm not sure. I heard this was maybe the last one, but I hope not. I don't think it will be.
No, they extended it for the whole year.
Nice. Okay, good.
Yep.
Good. Yeah.
So first Friday of every month, Bandcamp Fridays. Yep. All the money goes to the artists. So you heard Kim. They have that in vinyl.
Yeah.
Go buy it.
We have CDs and buttons too, and we're making, we have a potential collaboration with one of my friends up here in Scotland. Well, I met her in St. Andrews, but I think she's going to be in London now. She's working on woodblock printing, and I'm so excited because we haven't met yet. We're going to meet in London in a few weeks to talk about it, but we should have some really cool merch this year.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Well, tell everyone where they can find you, and then we'll close the
that just broke my heart.
Having you here.
You can find me on everywhere on the internet, and it's at Kim Logan Music, every platform. I don't have a Facebook anymore, but the page still exists. Yeah, everywhere. Spotify, Kim Logan. Yep.
You find her, people, because she is awesome, and the silhouettes are awesome too. Yeah. They are her band. And Kim, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
We'll get you back on when the album's out.
Thank you so much, Nicki. Thank you.
And enjoy.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a record. Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too. Bye, everybody. This is Nicki Kris. Until next time, keep on mixing it.